Hey, Changemakers, welcome to another episode of Changelicious, the podcast that today turns fear into the biggest potential for you to break free, and that turns your limitation into liberation. Okay. So if you're an entrepreneur, if you are a new leader or a new leader in the making, or if you are just someone who wants to be more free to fly, free to launch that new course, free to speak on that next big stage, this is especially from my heart to you. I said it, the topic is how to turn fears into the fuel that drive your life and your business. And we're going to talk about especially how to step out of victimhood into creative state, how to work with your subconscious to break free, and how to claim your power as a human being, as a natural creator, to step up and do the things that you want to do in this lifetime. Okay. So this is very personal. This is about a very edgy topic. This might trigger a lot of people. I don't care. Let's dive in. It's super important. So let's be real for a quick second. When we want to level up, meaning we want to bring something into this world that we haven't yet, we want to do something that we haven't done before, naturally and very humanly, fear creeps up. It's a very natural process because we are stepping into the unknown. And if you know anything about being human, you know that stepping into the unknown is very, very uncomfortable for our entire system. We're not hardwired for the unknown. We are hardwired for the known, to keeping us safe. So naturally, our whole system, our whole subconscious screams alarm. Don't do that. We have to be aware of that. That's very, very normal. Just nobody teaches us. So even though we're hardwired for that process, we can absolutely consciously decide to take another path, to say, you know what, subconscious? It's super great that you're giving me the alarm bells, and I appreciate that, but I'm going another route, and I prove to myself that this is going to be safe eventually. Because if you're doing this over and over again, or if you're having success with it, or even if you fail and learn and reframe that learning as a success, then you will have a different experience. It becomes part of your story. So let's go back a little bit. Let's say you want to raise your prices, you want to launch that course that you've created, you want to quit your job, you want to travel the world, you want to take your family time off, and fear is creeping up because this is something that your system isn't used to. Now, what most people do, and I have been there myself for years because I was full of fear, is that we see the fear as an enemy. We see the fear as the actual enemy to the state or the identity that we want to become and the action that we want to take. It's like stopping us, right? It's the sabotage. Now, the first shift, or the awareness that we can shift in order for us to use the fear as fuel, is to understand that this is pure information, that it is up to us, and that already shifts you from victim to creator, how you want to label that fear creeping up. Do you want to be like, okay, well, hey, this is enemy. I want to shove you under the rug and don't want to see you. Versus, okay, this is pure information. This is just showing me what's going on in myself, so I can clear it. Great. Because what if this emotion is simply showing you, okay, this is my old self. This is no longer working. So I'm showing myself to you so you can let it go, brush it off, and becoming the new. What if this fear is in between the old self and the new one? Does that already shift something in you? So for many of us, our old identities have been shaped in a victim consciousness. Like the most population of this planet is still operating from victimhood, like shrugging their shoulders, it's just who I am, or my entire family was that way, so I'm naturally that way, or looking in the past, like things never worked out for me. Why should it work out now or in the future. And then looking at other people who already worked through their fears, through their pains, and have what you want to have, a successful business, a fulfilled life. And you're like, okay, but they have some completely different circumstance. And I'm not saying that people, and I've just watched Meghan Markle, have different kind of, circumstances and can leverage these circumstances in a very different ways. I'm just saying, look at people that have actually become very, very successful. For instance, Tony Robbins. He was never Tony Robbins in the first place. Like, he had super crazy struggles he had to deal with, but he worked through it. And today he is this Tony Robbins because he didn't accept his old story and created his own that became so familiar by repetition. So this embodiment helped him to realize the actions that he needed to take in order to create the life and the business that he envisioned as Tony Robbins. Same with me. I wasn't here speaking to you on a podcast because it was written in the stars for me. Hell no. It was quite the opposite. As a kid, I was extremely scared to say anything because of my then circumstances, but I flipped them. I flipped the circumstances. I flipped myself inside out. I became who I wanted to become, had the vision strong, worked through my fears and my pains, and oftentimes did it anyways. Even though my fears were in the back, I did not let them drive me, but I drove myself. So first and foremost, what if these fears as information are actually here to point to the version of you that you want to become, that identity of you that wants to be born? It shifts everything. If you don't give it that much power, that's the enemy. So that's number one. So shift number two, let's go deeper into the victim consciousness. So the victim asks, why is this happening to me? And then completely paralyzes. Versus the creator who asks, okay, I'm in this circumstance and I accept it. I don't fight it, but what's next? What can I create with this, from this right now, without any extra resources? Huge mind shift, huge game changer. And this shift isn't just, motivational fluff. It's neurobiological. Because when you start taking ownership, your subconscious does no longer search for reasons, excuses, and proof of your limitations. It starts to look for evidence of your power. Because we have this entire Google machine in our head, but we need to use it right in order to move forward and unblock ourselves. Just one little anecdote. When I became pregnant, and I live in the small town in Germany, all of a sudden I saw pregnant women. Women with baby strollers. I haven't seen them before. They were there, obviously, but my Google machine was not aware of them. Similar to when you, for instance, this is a very famous example, when you want to buy a car and you want to buy a red one, all of a sudden you see a lot of red cars. This is how we work, this is how we operate. So where energy goes, energy grows. What if you would load your subconscious, your Google machine, with prompts, with evidence, with energy that builds upon? So not looking at the victimhood, but rather focusing on your power. This might sound theoretical up till now, so let's make this really concrete and practical. Here are 3 steps I'd actually want you to do in order to prove it to yourself. Not just listen to, actually do to make it work, okay? So how do we use fear as fuel in practical terms? Now, I have to say this disclaimer because we're in an open space and this will trigger a lot of people. This is based upon my personal experience, what helped me the most. So before I was going to, just for context, I was going years to therapy sessions. I was circling around the problem, but I never got to the root, naming the fear and working with the emotion underneath to release it. I was managing it, and I didn't want to manage it anymore. I wanted to be free from all the gunk that I was having inside of me. So, as a disclaimer, this isn't for everybody. Please consult your therapist, coach, whatever, and do this when you're mentally healthy. First and foremost, name the fear. And don't just name the fear because, again, energy grows where energy goes. Work with the desire that is underneath it. Be analytical immediately. You're the coach inside of you. Let's make this practical. So I'll give you an example. If I go all in into my business, I will fail. That's great, but now get surgical. What does this fear reveal about what I truly, honestly, and deeply want? Be brutally honest. The more honest you are, in my experience, the better results you will have in the end. So what's the desire underneath that? To me, that's freedom. I want to be free. I want to feel powerful and secure and successful. So now you've used your fear as an information source. What do you want as an outcome? Right? How do you want to feel? And don't bullshit yourself because you think somebody else is expecting or you're expecting something else. Be brutally honest because that will speed up the process. Otherwise, you just go around in circles, okay? Now, the second step is that you rewrite your script, your identity, your story. And you're scripting this so your subconscious learns different beliefs and a new story. And if you embody that, believe that, guess what happens? Again, the Tony Robbins example, he was not always Tony Robbins, but he convinced himself. Same with, I just heard last week the story of Whitney Hewland, who is a celebrity coach who got famous herself by, as she said, brainwashing herself into believing that she was successful and freaking famous. In 2 weeks' time, I'll be speaking on a TED stage, something that, again, was not in my cards, but I embodied this version of myself being on a huge stage and talking to people about things that are absolutely relevant for me to create an impact. This shy girl who's now on a big stage. So now anyone can do this. Your subconscious is running 95% of your daily behavior, like 95%. And it's full, it's loaded of outdated scripts. Like most of us, especially women, I talked about this before, have this common limiting belief, I am not good enough. I will never be good enough. Or you were brought up like, hush, hush, little girl, you're only good enough if you are quiet and nice and, quiet in the background. So your natural instinct is to self-sabotage success, to self-sabotage attention. And that could be, a limiting belief that if I'm successful, then I'll be abandoned. So a little side note here, to my experience, there are two main fears. One is failure and one is success. And most people only focus on the fear of failure, but you need to work on both if this just resonated and hit home. If I'm, front stage, front center, I will not be liked and will trigger the heck out of other people. So I won't do that. That's my subconscious keeping me safe. So if you have natural fear of failure, natural fear of success, you will start self-sabotaging yourself. That's just normal human behavior. And because it is subconscious, you don't even realize it's happening. So if you're working on your own with the coach inside yourself, then I would highly recommend you rewrite those scripts to first and foremost become aware of it. What is it? What is underneath? And then rewrite it into a positive statement. So where energy goes, energy grows, and you become that identity. To rewrite those scripts now, you have to use repetition and emotion and cleansing every single day. Discipline. Because what fires, wires new neurological pathways. Say this every single day from now onwards for 21 days. Say, I'm the creator of my reality. Confirm that because that's the truth. I choose expansion. And I am safe to succeed. And then feel it. Speak it like you mean it. You're not just affirming, you are reprogramming if you're really feeling it. Now, the feelings that are gunky, that are coming up, again, search for them because they're the blocks, they're the actual blocks. And Heal them through feeling them. Give yourself 2 minutes to do that every single day, to feel the gunk, and then feel into what it actually means to have it all, to be successful, to be that version of you that you want to be. As a bonus tip, you can also record yourself saying this and listen to it before you fall asleep, because the window when you fall asleep is very, very open. You're highly susceptible, and it kind of marinates your thoughts, the thoughts that you have, especially before going to bed, into your subconscious while you're asleep. 6, 7, 8 hours, whatever hours you're sleeping. And then the final step, which is maybe the most crucial, and that's where most people stop and slow down the process immensely. Take the micro action that scares you the most daily. And there's a logic to this. So fear shrinks, again, where energy goes, energy grows, when action expands. And I call it the 5% edge. What I really don't like is when people tell you out there in the coaching world to just do it. I mean, yeah, then we'd be somewhere else entirely, like collectively on this planet and individually, because it doesn't work that way, at least not for all people. So don't jump off a cliff. Just train yourself constantly by leaning in 5% out of your comfort zone every single day. For instance, I don't know, contact that collaborator that you always wanted to collaborate with, and the next day another collaborator. Make it a thing. Make it your thing. And on day 21, it will be just you asking for collaborations and getting answers in return and leveling up in return. Raising your rates, not having this enormous jump in your rates, but going slowly but surely, asking for more money each and every time. 5% out of your comfort zone. Setting boundaries, a huge thing. Say no to that thing or the person draining your energy. Say no another time to that person, project that is draining your energy. Say no another time. So really make it a practice, a thing that when you ritualize it, when you habitualize it, it becomes you. And each act of doing something differently will tell your nervous system, we're not playing old story anymore, dear. We're in the new version. And, over time, you will completely become that new version. And eventually your whole life and potentially business will realign. So last but not least, to wrap it all up, and this is super important, so please stay. Your power is not in the past. Your power is in the now. About the choice that you make right now. Because based upon my own experience as going through hell and coming back into heaven and coaching so many clients do the same. We are not our trauma. We are not our fears. We are not our past experiences unless we cling on to them or if we haven't had the chance to heal it. You are the one who chooses. And when you realize that, there's this huge liberation because you realize you don't need anybody to save you. He or she won't come anyways, to my experience. I was waiting for the prince on the white horse, never came. Because you don't need saving. You are most probably experiencing hardship because you want to level up. That's it. There is a different version of you that already exists, and it's like knocking on the door like, hey, can we please get going? Can we please level up now so you can actually taste this beautiful life on the other end? And when you do that shift, you start really creating miracles. You level up in frequency because everything is frequency. And if you get out the gunk, you naturally step up in your frequency, you're on a higher frequency, and you create differently, and you also attract completely differently. It's almost like you're on a different radio station then. It switches from to it's this kind of completely new reality that you literally tune into. How you think, how you speak, how you act, and especially how you react. Most things are just no longer relevant to you, and you're like, this is boring. put no energy into it, and then it doesn't come back into your life. So that is the work, and it's a huge blessing and gift. So closing for real now, I want to ask you to ask yourself, where have I been acting like a victim in my life or business? And what would it look like to step into creator mode right now? Honestly, you don't need a perfect plan. You have a plan until you get punched in the face, Mike Tyson quote. You need a powerful decision to make. If this episode spoke to you, please share it. Please also revisit and do the things in order to level up. DM me your biggest shift after doing this. I'd be super grateful to hear from you. This was another Changelicious episode. Every week you get this kind of content that is juicy, but also that you can put into action. And again, your fear is not your obstacle. It's just the sign for you to flip the script. Now go create something brave. Until next time.
That's a wrap on another Changelicious episode where transformation never tasted so good. If your soul's feeling fed, don't forget to follow, leave a love note, aka review, and share the goodness with somebody really ready to flip the script. For more juicy insights and sweet inspiration, follow me, Hedi Schaefer, and let's keep stirring up change that sticks. Until next time, stay real, stay bold, and keep it Changelicious.